Welcome back to our channel, and thank you all for tuning in and thank you for supporting us. But if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please encourage us by doing so that we can bring you the latest news as they come. And together we can work with our great leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Eastern Security Network, and IPOB to make our Biafran dream a reality. He say, Buhari and his terrorist Fulani Janjaweed Nigerian government and all the Fulani Janjaweed in the zoo called Nigeria are in serious trouble, and very soon they will pack their evil load and go back to Futajalon and Sahel of Africa where they come from. That is if only Ç'E噚uokike will spare them from his judgment. The Fulani terrorist Janjaweed and their security agency operatives will drown like the armies of Pharaoh, and they will be put to shame by Biafrans. All these Biafran and Southern politicians should wise up and support Nigerians' disintegration, because Fulani Janjaweed are not ready to relinquish power given to them by our colonial master, the British government. They were given to them. They will never relinquish the power to the south. Coalition of Northern Group, a terrorist group controlled by terrorist Fulani Janjaweed, warns Northerners that if they market any Southern presidential candidate, they will be treated as traitors. So why are Biafrans and Southern politicians deceiving themselves? Even some of the governors refuse to sign anti-open grazing law in their states, such as Edo State, Cross River, Anambra, Imo, and Ebonyi. They have not signed it. And they want peace to reign in their various states. It cannot happen. Fulani Janjaweed are not programmed to bring peace. They are programmed to cause havoc, to cause atrocities, to terrorize people and dominate. That is how they are programmed. These Efulefu governors that are Fulani slaves, they thought that not signing the anti-open grazing law or supporting the southern states to collect their VAT themselves will help them. It won't help them. But now they can see clearly that the Fulani Janjaweed only wants to use them for their wicked and evil agenda. If all these slave politicians from the south stand in our way to freedom, then go collect, because everywhere don't choke. My brothers and my sisters, everywhere don't choke. They go collect. Human rights groups across the zoo called Nigeria have demanded for an immediate and unconditional release of all political prisoners, all NSAS protesters, and all freedom fighters who are still unjustly languishing in detention centers across the zoo called Nigeria. The human rights groups describe the current state of Nigeria as one in disarray, confusion, cannibalistic, and reeling in incompetence of the highest order and backwardness. Despite the 22 years of uninterrupted civil rule, the average Nigerian could not boast of any dividend of the much touted democracy. This is the reason why the zoo called Nigeria must disintegrate, for people to enjoy peace and dividends of their nations. Fulani Janjaweed will never allow them enjoy the dividends of their nations if they keep supporting one Nigeria. The human rights group called on Buhari to resign from office. He should resign. and allow Biafra to conduct their referendum. There are no milder words to put the state of Nigeria other than disarray, confusion, cannibalistic, railing incompetence of the highest order and backwardness. Despite 22 years of uninterrupted civil rule, Nigerians and Biafrans have been left to cater for themselves in all forms of human survival. Recently, of all the doubts thrown at Biafrans and Nigeria, is the sermon that they should find a way to defend themselves against violent attack by the terrorist Fulani Janjaweed, the terrorists, the government, the Fulani Nigerian government have found comfortable names for. Instead of calling them terrorists, the Fulani Nigerian government call their Fulani terrorists. They call them bandits. They call them killer herdsmen. And they call them unknown gunmen. So that the world will not see that they are supporting the terrorists. You know, to score Buhari's regime on its failure to fulfill any of its promises to the masses of Nigeria would be a waste of productive time. Nigeria is not a country, you know, it's just a fraudulent contraption. You know, to score Buhari on failure, you will require another measure of scale for it. Buhari's regime is a god with a clay feet, which is incapable of protecting itself and its officials from insecurity it has wrought on the nation. Insecurity has been democratized and become so pervasive that there is no greater testimony of large-scale insecurity in the land than the robbery of the chief of staff to the president within the Aso Rock presidential precinct, and the recent invasion, killing of 2 officers and abduction of another officer inside the nation's premier military training institution, the Nigerian Defense Academy. It is so unfortunate that there has not been any progressive realization of safe and conducive space for all. Rather, Nigeria has retrogressed under the wicked Buhari's regime, and it is now the 3rd most terrorized country in the world. You know, it's in the league with Afghanistan and all these terrorist nations. Placing the Nigerian space on a map, the Buhari regime cannot boast of 10%, where it has total control of and can assert sovereignty. So why are they still keeping Nigeria? It should break up. We now have a horrible situation where terrorists now do humanitarian works like international NGOs, imposes tax on citizens, and even declare a governor for the people. You know, that is what the Janjaweed Buhari has brought into the zoo called Nigeria. The economy under Buhari has been characterized by widespread poverty, galloping inflation, and unsustainable debt overhang. In 2020, an additional 7 million Nigerians were plunged into what the World Bank described as multi-dimensional poverty by the Buhari's regime. You know, bringing the number of Nigerians who wallow in multi-dimensional poverty to 98 million, or almost 50% of its total population. You know, the multi-dimensional poverty index measures not just poverty by income, but also by access to health, education, and living conditions such as sanitation, potable water, electricity, and housing. The zoo must fall for any meaningful progress to happen. It must fall. The Buhari regime have made a song and dance about cash transfer to tackle poverty, but what Nigerians need is not handout. What they need is referendum. Let everyone go to their, various nations and be free. Let Biafra grow so that the so-called Niger Deltans can manage their own resources, like Zamfara State is also managing their gold. Buhari and his terrorist Fulani should let Biafra go peacefully, because fly away no dey hear word go soon enter the grave, and the Fulani Janjaweed must collect. Surugede dance is not for small pikin. He that had an ear, let him hear. Thank you for watching this video, and bye-bye for now.